Welcome in 304 Nation. I'm Sam the Man, and this is Tim, and this is another episode of the 304 podcast. What's going on, Tim?
Nothing. What's going on with you?
Not a whole lot. Did you get to eat that spaghetti?
It's right there waiting for me, and by the time we're done with this, it's going to be cold and it's going to taste like Chef Boyardee, but that's okay. That's good stuff too.
Yeah. If you say so.
That's not
Guys, we're excited tonight. We have a very special guest coming in tonight. It's our first female for the 304 podcast, so that's great.
That is good. It's about
good
time,
job,
too.
You did it.
Hi.
Guys, tonight we're bringing in a local coach who, in my eyes, is, just the athletic prowess and determination that she showed over my lifetime, because I've seen her career from when I was a kid growing up. She has a long list of accomplishments at Glenville State. Way too many numerous to mention here. You know, if you want to go look them up, just Google her. They'll come up, and then you can read for 30 minutes, okay?
Yeah, we only got an hour.
But she's a Princeton native. She's the current coach of the PikeView Panthers girls basketball team. This season, the Lady Panthers finished 15-9 with a couple of playoff victories. Everybody, welcome in Tracy, Wyatt, Raban.
Yeah. Good evening, Miss Raban.
Good evening.
Hey, we appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, thank you for wanting to be on the show. Guys, if you're watching for the first time and you want to ask Miss Raban some questions, you feel free anytime you want to throw us some questions. We'll get to them later, we promise, and during our Q&A time. And don't be shy. Just get out there and ask them questions.
Well, we'll just kind of dive right into it. We want to know a little bit about you and PikeView and where you're headed, where you're going. But looking at the PikeView job, what was your motivating factor for wanting to be the coach of the Lady Panthers?
Just the hard work that these kids put in. We're a low enrollment at PikeView, and just the determination and the hard work these kids put in year round, and the community support. I can remember coaching at Princeton and coming and watching them the year of COVID when they played Wyoming East here in the regionals. And it was a sellout. And, I looked at my dad and I said, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to coach. I want this type of environment. And when Coach Miller resigned, I jumped on it real quick. And just the community support and how hard these kids play drew me in real quick.
Well, and that's the thing. PikeView's got a pretty good history with their girls basketball program. They were great when we were there, when me and Tim were at PikeView, and they've had intermittent successes throughout the years. And, it seems like there's always been a really good following for the PikeView basketball, boys and girls both. But with the girls, it seems like there's always been that great community support.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. My first year we had the COVID, so our stands were limited. So it was kind of a letdown, not to come in my first year and couldn't have that crowd. And this year was a little slow coming, but then when we got to sectionals and regionals, they started following us, and it's like our sixth man. The girls loved it. They drew onto it, and they play hard for them. And so the community support's definitely a big get-go to get me here.
Now, speaking of your predecessor, Miss Miller, she has been there at PikeView forever.
Yeah.
And she's well known, and it's well known in the area. How hard was it to move in and fill her shoes as the head coach?
Oh, very hard. I have much respect for Coach Miller and the success she had here at PikeView, and there's a lot of pressure. They got shut down with COVID and was going to make that run in the state tournament. So a lot of pressure on my shoulders to come in and try to continue that tradition. But I'm always up for a challenge. So I took that on my shoulders as well.
Yeah, that was a rough year where they had to shut down the tournament like that. Man, that was a heartbreaker because she had the team.
Absolutely. Like I told the girls this year, you get up there and you can get that first win. You never know what's going to happen after that. And, they knocked off Fairmont and felt like, they were pretty confident going in and then getting shut down. So it was a heartbreaker.
Sure, definitely.
with the success that you guys kind of had this year and what your trajectory, I think we can all see that the trajectories, you're on an upward trend. What does next year look like in your eyes as far as getting over, I don't want to say the hump, but you know what I mean, as far as getting into playoff basketball and taking that next step?
Right. Be a challenge. I mean, we lose 2 key, first team, but our girls are already working. They took a week off. We've gotten the weight room Monday, Wednesday. They're putting the time in. They want to keep pushing for the seniors this year and for the the younger ones coming up. They want the tradition to continue. They don't want it to stop here. So like I said, they're already putting work in. They're determined already.
Well, that's a big part of it. That's something that a lot of kids, till you have a coach that really motivates you and can teach you the intangible things like lifting and how important that is. They tend to overlook it. How have you seen what you've instilled in your players kind of transform them in your first couple of years?
I just think, with, the first year getting to the state tournament, I think wasn't a fluke, but it was a surprise to us. We did not expect that at all. And we got up there and lost to Logan, and they saw, we weren't as physical and as strong as to be at the state tournament level. And so last year after that, they got in the weight room, and again, they saw it this year. We weren't quite physical and strong enough for Fairmont. So like I said, these kids, I mean, I had 15 come this morning at 6 a.m.
Wow.
So we're going to be young again, no seniors, but they're putting in the time and they're growing. And
hitting a little delay, aren't we?
Yeah,
there's a little delay. That's okay. That's fine. Coach, when you approach the game of basketball, especially with your girls, what is your strategies or your philosophies? What do you do to get the most out of your players?
Well, I think they just got to see it in me that I'm determined and going to push them each and every day. If I'm not motivated myself, how can I expect them to be motivated? If I come in and don't want to go to a practice, I can't expect them to want to practice. Right. So that's where I've tried to be, is just be that motivator, that, determined every day, don't take a day off. And if they see me, something that I can do, if coach can do this, hey, I can do it. So just being that motivator and being determined every day and being that leader that I want them to be, when they graduate and move on into the real world. That's my goal every day.
Well, and that's something I think that's going to be with the changing landscape of sports, because it's changing so fast. I think, high school coaches are going to be they were always valuable, but it's going to be the experience that you get with that high school coach is going to be more valuable, because there's so much more to learn now before you go to the collegiate level, or so I think so anyway. Yeah. And that's something that we're trying to communicate here with what we're doing with 304 is, young men and women that want to play collegiate sports. What does it take to play at that next level? What would you tell your girls about being a student athlete when it comes to playing at the collegiate level? Can you talk a little bit about the difficulties of being a student athlete? Because a lot of kids don't always grasp that. Yeah.
Well, I got Hannah Purdue going to Concord, so I've been trying to tell her for the last 2 years, like, it's a job. It's 24/7. She's like, Coach, when do I start? Like, you're going to start day one. Like, you start now. You really should start now. But when that first day of school, you start. And you might have workouts first thing in the morning or study hall or whatever you might have. But it's a job. They're paying you to go there and get your education, and they're bringing you in to play basketball, something that you enjoy. But first and foremost, it's your job, and you got to commit to it. And there's no days off. And it's difficult. It's hard. If you love the game and you want to get that education, you'll fight through it and push through it. There's going to be difficult days. I want players to always know that fall back on me. Once I was always open. I developed that relationship with my girls that yeah, I'm your coach, but I'm also that shoulder to lean on when times are rough. And, like I told Hannah Purdue, you're going to have some hard days. There's going to be some tough times, and we're not going to fight. We're going to fight. I don't want you to quit. Lean on my shoulders if you need to, but it's a job, and it's definitely it's not easy.
Well, and that, I mean, that's a great relationship to have, like I said before, I think high school coaches are going to play a much bigger role with a lot of kids that's going into college nowadays, just because, building those relationships in college now, they're a little bit different than they used to be when it comes to, transfer portals, NIL, and, especially with the portal, because you're going to trust, that high school coach that instilled into you some of the things that got you to where you are. For kids and parents who might be looking at the college recruiting process, what's important for these kids to get looks from colleges? What does it take for them to get looks from colleges? What can they do to help themselves be seen?
I think have a tremendous work ethic and a great attitude. I think you can be the greatest athlete on the floor, but if you got a terrible attitude, pre-game warm-ups, during the game, after the game, you're over there, talking to your coach, screaming at him, talking back to your parents in the stands. Coach is going to see that. I've experienced it myself. Coach coming and looking at a kid and they don't even make it through warm-ups because the kid's got a terrible attitude or didn't go through warm-ups hard. So like I've always tried to tell my kids, you never know when people are watching you. So, do right all the time, because you never know what eyes are watching you. But I think work ethic and attitude goes a long ways.
Well, and that computes out into life, making, adults that can contribute to society and that are, coachable adults that can maybe go into the world and learn from, job experiences and stuff. So that's very important.
Well, it's like I tell my kids, obviously, yes, I want to win, and I don't want to lose. It's always not about the X's and O's, but I want to develop that relationship with those girls and prepare them for the real world, because let's be real, like not very many of them are going to play college ball. I got 4 seniors that graduated. I got 1 that's going to go play college basketball, 1 playing softball, but that's 50%. So preparing these kids for the real world and, whatever job might be, family, careers, whatever it might be, that's my goal as a coach, is to prepare them for the real world.
Stupid my mic.
It's
dumb. Yeah, it's dumb. Sorry.
Technology, gotta love it.
Yeah, I'm starting to a lot. But no, we know that the college landscape right now is changing very quickly and with a lot of aggression. From transfer portals to NIL deals, that's just making things really crazy right now, and realignments. What are your thoughts on these type of changes, and how would you navigate the current landscape?
That's a tough one. I haven't really looked much into it, but I wish we could just get back to kids going and playing basketball and playing the sport for the reason they love it.
Right.
You're getting away from that, and I think you're getting away from the love of the game and throwing dollar signs out there and stuff. But it definitely shakes it up, and I'm not a big fan of it. But I wish we could just get back to playing the game for what it's worth and letting coaches coach it, and not in the scrambling each year from year to year, knowing who's going to be on your team and who's not.
No, I agree, because it with NIL deals like that, it takes a lot of the heart and passion out of it, where if you're going to pay them like that kind of money, you're basically a pro. That's what what you're known. You're a professional ball player now, because you're being paid to do something. But yeah, I think there's a lot more bad than there is good with this, and you're going to see a lot of changes. I think with inside the NIL, it's going to be a lot of stipulations and new policies and stuff like that. But right now, it's just, that's all. You're right. That's all they're seeing is dollar signs, and not getting back to why they're there, is the love of the game and the hard work and the ethic and the good attitude. Because when money gets involved, your attitude changes.
Absolutely. As I say, it's taken away from the love of the game.
Yes.
Like, hopefully they'll make some changes. I don't think, you might not see it as much in the female side of it as quick as the male side. But definitely, I think you will eventually see it. And I wish we could just get back to playing basketball for the reason we play it.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree 1,000%. I think, you know, I don't mind the portal so much because I think kids, you know, there's a lot of predatory recruiting that goes on, and you know, I think kids should have an option if they feel like they got hoodwinked into going to a school that
Right.
they're not happy at. But you know, the NIL side of it, paying these kids all this money, you know, what happened to, you know, scholarships and getting an education and, you know, being able to move on with your life, whether you play professional sports or not. Like, you know, it cheapens the whole thing a little bit.
Right.
And then, you know, there's the thing, and something I've talked about in the past is I really think high school kids that are seniors that are going into college are going to suffer because of it, because these coaches are going to go into the portal and pull in a sophomore that went to a big college over that incoming freshman because
Right.
they're afraid that freshman won't be, you know, psychologically, mentally prepared to make that jump into college, and then they'll just hit the portal anyway. So that's part of the reason we're doing what we're doing with this is because I think that's something that's going to rear its ugly head sooner than later. And I think helping kids find a place to get some exposure might actually help them in the long run, you know, especially when it comes to smaller colleges and stuff, because those kids really need the looks.
Right. I always try to tell kids, you know, with like Hannah, she kept dragging it out, didn't know where she wanted to go. She wanted more offers. And my best advice was, you know, I went to where I thought I wanted to play. You know, I had some D1 offers when I was back in high school, but it was, you know, we want to send you to JUCO for 2 years, or, you know, sit you out for 2 years, let you develop more. And, you know, you take that chance of, well, what if they find another freshman or a transfer that comes in, and then I'm out, you know, I don't have anywhere to go. And so, as you know, I went small and I wanted to go where I was going to play for 4 years and get that exposure. So that's the best advice I can give is get these kids, let them, you know, I think a lot around here, we got a lot, you know, people want to go D1, you know, they hear D1. But I think you could go D2 and get a lot of exposure and get just as much out of it, probably more playtime than you would if you got D1.
Well, and the thing is if the talent's there, you will be found. And that's
Right.
what a lot of kids have to remember is it D1, D2, however you want to term it. I don't like to even term it that way, but
Right.
if you have the talent and the ability and the work ethic, you will be found. It happens all the time.
That's right.
Guys, we have PikeView's girls basketball head coach, Tracy Wyatt Raban, on tonight. Thank you for watching. If you guys want to throw some questions out there for the coach, we'll be glad to get to them later on. And, just don't be shy. Get out there and do it.
Well, we're going to have a little bit of fun for the moment. We're going to play 10 questions. Some of them are yes, no, true, false.
Okay.
You know, some of them are in depth, some of them aren't. You know, it's just little things that either we're curious about or we think the viewing audience would find interesting. And I'm going to actually start off with that. True or false? You played football for the Shawnee Chiefs.
True.
And I knew that was true because I played for the Raiders, and I remember when you played.
Yes, I did. I think two or 3 years. I think my mom took me down to do cheerleading. I made it one day. I came home and I said, I don't want to cheer. I want to play football. So,
and you was a running back, right?
I did some running back, tight end, and safety on defense.
Yep,
man.
I remember. I do.
Yeah.
What was that? I mean, even at that level, what you think about football, playing with the boys? Did it kind of scare you at first, or did you just go full force and just say, screw it, I'm gonna do it?
Well, I grew up with nothing but boys in the family. I was the only girl, and like all of our cousins and everything. So I always play with boys. I always say that's what, you know, success was. I grew up playing with boys my whole life, and I didn't know cheerleading. So no, I wasn't scared. I wasn't intimidated.
Yeah, the Sammy feels a little bad because he remembers, I think, did you tackle her and you felt really bad?
I do remember having to tackle her and not feeling
the greatest.
The greatest. But I will say this, like the funny part is the reason I remember it so well wasn't necessarily because I had to tackle her or anything, but was because she was fearless. Like she wasn't afraid of anybody. Like, and I do remember that because she'd hit you as hard as you'd hit her, man. She'd give you everything she got. I remember it. I remember it very well.
I'm so sorry.
I had to
so
defend
sorry.
myself with all the boys. So, yeah. Don't apologize. It was good.
I love that, man. I do. All right.
It made me tough.
No doubt. I mean, we coached a team that we had a father brought a girl to me, his daughter to me. I'm like, all right, my first question, are you sure? Because she is going to get hit. I don't want you sitting there going, oh, my princess. I mean, are you absolutely sure? I think she lasted about 2 weeks, but yeah, so I think he got a little taste of that he didn't like. It's not for everybody. So my hat's off to you.
Thank you.
Way
to start it off. That was a nice first question.
Yeah, easy. They get harder every level.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No. Question number 2. What is I sound like Regis Philbin. Question number 2. Who wants to be a millionaire? What is your own personal proudest athletic accomplishment?
I'd probably have to say when we were 12 years old, we had a travel AAU team, and we played YBOA at the time, but we won the 12U national tournament in Florida, and I was the MVP of the tournament.
Of course,
man. Of course. Well, I mean,
we were small. We were little white girls from Princeton, West Virginia, and I remember we played teams from Atlanta, Georgia, Detroit, Michigan, and we came out on top down in Florida.
That's awesome.
What are indicators for coaches to look for when they say it's time for them to stop? Like when a coach's time, it's time to move on, or a player's time to move on. What's the indicators that they need to look for when it's time?
Lack of passion. You don't want to be there. You're constantly frustrated or always nagging, negative. I think when you lose that passion and that determination and that drive for it, then you're not doing yourself any justice, or the players that's under you. I think it becomes a step away when you lose that passion.
Absolutely.
I definitely want to get to that later on. That Gardner, Gail, Patricia question. We'll get to that one. Yeah. And Chris Parrish, he's weird, but we'll get to his question.
He's a weirdo.
Is it my turn? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not reading my notes. Hey. Question number, I don't even know. They're not even numbered. How important is it for kids to watch video and learn about the sports they play?
I think it's very important, especially, I think that's a lot of problems that we see in the middle school, high school age, that kids just lack a knowledge of the game. You can't necessarily teach that. I tell girls all the time, go home, watch this game film, go home, watch this YouTube video. Like, you've got to know the game. So I think a lot of times, I think that's why it set Hannah Purdue above everybody in this area, is that she just knew the game so well. So I think it's very important for kids to have knowledge of whatever sport they're playing in and know the game.
Well, I'm piggybacking off that. It's so funny because every kid that we've interviewed that's going big colleges, smaller colleges, and every coach, we've had some professional athletes on here, people that went to WVU, played in the CFL, but every single one of those have always talked about being a student of the game. Like that, every single one's talked about, we usually ask them, what do you nerd out on? And usually the answers are, I play Madden so that I can learn my position better, and I watch footwork videos, everything I can watch. So for all of you young men and women watching out there, keep that in mind. That's a big part of it, is watching film, whether it be your own or drills or whatever. That is one of the, if I had to write a book and say, of all the interviews that we've done, the one thing that all these people have in common is talking about watching video, every single one of them.
Yep.
And I think it lacks in the female side of it, because, not very many females play video games. It's usually, the male, but, it does lack. I think it's a big lack in our area here, is just the knowledge of the game in whatever sport they're playing. Especially when they get to middle school and high school, especially we got to know the basics, and having to waste time and spend time on fundamentals. We're doing this or that. Like if they can on that early on, elementary, early middle school age, like it's going to just set them apart. Even if they're not the most talented, it will set them apart.
Absolutely. I mean, it goes back to being coachable, like and willing to put the work in to learn, like, and that's what you look so much for. The next question: what coach impacted you the most?
You broke up on me there. Which coach impacted?
Yep.
Me?
Yep.
It would be my college coach, Steve Harold at Glenville State. I learned a lot. Well, everything that I've learned as a coach, that I do as a coach, I learned from him at my 4 years at Glenville State. I don't know that he's very knowledgeable, caring for his kids and players. I've always said and told him that, he's like my second father, but he's a great role model. I learned everything that I know today and do today. I do after him.
Okay. All right. The next question: what's one piece of advice you do give your players now that all kids or any kids that want to play any kind of sport needs to hear?
It lagged on me again.
I hope I'm not sound like a
Sorry.
Mighty Mouse.
Repeat yourself, sir. She's lagging. Got a little.
No, it's not. It's going in and out a little bit.
Yeah, it is here. What's one piece of advice you give your players now that all kids who play sports really need to hear?
Play with a passion. Play with heart. Don't want to do. If you don't want to do it, do. And if you're doing it because your parents want you to do it, then don't do it. You gotta want to do it because you want to do it. I've ran across that a couple of times in my career of kids not wanting to do it, and they're doing it because their parents and they don't have the passion or the drive. So do what you want to do. I've always told my kid, I have a daughter that's in middle school, and she didn't start playing basketball until she was probably third or fourth grade. And I'm not going to make her. If she doesn't want to, I'm not going to make her. I want her to do whatever she wants to do. So I think it's very important. I try to tell my kids, do what you want to do and do it because you want to do it, not because somebody else wants to do it.
Yeah, good answer.
Tim, take your next one. I'm going to skip mine because she's touched on that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
I get to go twice. All right. Who inspired you as a young athlete?
Michael Jordan.
I knew it.
How did you know it?
Because if it was LeBron, all your girls would be flopping.
Tell you
because what you went out on.
Sorry, I said because if it was LeBron James, all your girls would be flopping.
Yeah, no. We're not going to go there. No, I just like this work ethic and I always with Michael Jordan, getting cut in, junior high and just showing his determination. And I just like the way he played. And I would sit and watch the Chicago Bulls play all the time. And that's where I think I learned a lot of the game. I actually was able to go and watch him play a couple times at the United Center. But that's where I just studied the game, watching the way he played and admired the way he played and tried to model my game after it. No, I know it was nowhere near it, but I watched the way he played and learned the game from him.
And nobody like him either. Nobody has that.
No.
Nobody has that killer mentality. Nobody.
That's right.
Say one bad word to me, I'm gonna use
it.
How does attitude impact a winning mentality?
It's everything. if you want to win, you're going to have a great attitude and determination. If you have a stinky attitude and, it's going to show on the court and you're not going to amount to anything. Tell our kids, body language is everything. It's not just, what comes out of your mouth, but it's how you handle your body,
Yep.
Our actions all the time. If you don't have a great attitude, you're not going to go anywhere in life. Life's not going to be great every day. You're going to have some bad days, but it's how you respond to those bad days is what's going to make you what type of person you want to be in life.
No, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Okay, all right. All right. This last question is a true or false. Okay. Let's see if I can say this last thing, bro. True or false? You had the opportunity to study under Olympic coach Bella Caroli.
True.
Man,
that's kind of creepy. How did you know that?
I do research.
We can't tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, the thing is, like that's an opportunity, I knew the football thing. I played football against you, so I knew that. But that singular fact right there, I think blew my mind the most because, I know you don't want to get into talking about you, but it kind of it shows that the athletic prowess that you have in your background, and I'm sure looking at your family, you know where kind of how it got there, but I know you were probably pretty young when all that came about. What was the decision to not take that opportunity?
Well, I'll rewind a little bit. I did start with gymnastics before I even got into basketball. I was really small growing up. It wasn't until I was probably in 6th or 7th grade that we found out that I had a growth hormone deficiency. So I was really, really tiny, which, is key for gymnasts. A lot of them. So I started out here in Princeton and then ended up going to Roanoke 3 days for gymnastics and was pretty tough at it. Had that opportunity to train, but that was around probably 4th, 5th grade-ish. And that's when I started falling for basketball. And so kind of a decision had to be made. And I don't know that my parents probably they were supportive of whatever, but I think they probably were leaning more towards the gymnastics side of it. But
right.
I looked at them and said, I want to play basketball. And so from that day forward, we dropped gymnastics and I started focusing on basketball.
I mean, and that and the reason I felt like that was important is because I figured your answer would be something along those lines because, you've talked about having a passion for what you do. And if you're going to do it, have passion about it, be passionate about it. And, your passion was basketball, and it's so easy to get caught up doing what your parents want you to do at that age. And, some kids don't have the opportunity to pick and choose for themselves. So, really, I think it's awesome that your parents listened, because it doesn't happen a lot of times.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that would be my message to parents. Anybody, parents that are listening, let your kids make the decision. Like I said earlier, everybody was like, you're not going to make your kid play basketball. She's in 3rd, 4th grade. No, she was doing competition cheerleading. Was it killing me? Yes, it was killing me for sure. But I'm not going to make her do something that she doesn't want to do, because then she's not going to have that passion or that drive and want to do it either now or later in life. So my parents were very understanding. They let me make the decision. And when I chose basketball, we went head in with basketball, and it was full drive from there. We never, it's all about having that passion and that drive for it.
I'm curious to know if you ever had any, if you ever acquired a nickname that stuck with you throughout your whole athletic career. Is there a certain nickname? Because I just came up with one. I just came up with one for you, but you go ahead and tell me if there is one.
Oh no.
No, not really. In college where I was Tracy, Wyatt was T-Dub, but
Okay.
no, really cool nickname, I guess. No.
Well, you played football, let's see, basketball, gymnastics, probably everything else underneath the sun. You're just the Swiss Army knife of sports. That's what you are.
There we go.
The Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, I played Little League baseball. I didn't play softball. I played baseball.
I was going to mention baseball. Gardner League, right?
Yes.
Good job, Swiss Army.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. One of the questions that we have from the people watching, what's one thing that you would do different next season that maybe you didn't do this season?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, next year's team's going to be totally different because we're going to be more well-rounded. This year, a lot of the focus was on Hannah Purdue. And, I had some criticism on that. But when you have a player like that, it's hard not to rely on her. So maybe next year, broaden it out, more team-oriented, I guess you want to say. Not that it was a flaw this year because, like I said, team's going to be different. But we are going to have to be more of a team-oriented next year and maybe more offensive sets instead of just being able to clear the floor out. So being a little bit more, facing adversity and more offensive sets and more strategy put into next year than what we had this year.
Yeah, because I think what Sammy told me today, what's impressive is that you lost 5 starting seniors last year, right? Right, Sammy?
I didn't have any seniors last year.
It was the year before.
The year before. Okay.
It was the year before. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to lose 5 starting seniors and then to rebound the way you did even last year is just, I mean, it's a testament to good coaching.
Yes, it is.
Well, when you have somebody like Hannah Purdue and then a hard worker like Anaya, it makes things a little bit easier. But next year is going to be a challenge. But like I said, I got kids that coming up that can help and got a lot of play time this year. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a lot more coaching going into it next year with X's and O's and strategies. But I'm always up to a good challenge. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, we might need to get a hold of Hannah Purdue. So you're next.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Coach Tony Palmer says, congrats on the great season. I was rooting for you.
Oh, yeah. I worked with Tony over at Graham. Great guy.
Yes, he is.
Great role model for the kids. And I know the kids look, I've learned from him just watching the kids, the relationships that he's developed with those kids. And like I said, I think nowadays with the way the world is, I think developing relationships with kids, and if the kids respect you and want to play for you, then you're going to develop a program and have a tradition.
I like that. This question, Tracy, coming from Chris Parrish. If you could do anything over again in sports, what would that be?
If I could do it over without not changing it, I definitely would like to go back to college. I always said I would love to go back and do my college years over just the way that happened. I had a great time at Glenville. That's what changed my life. I went to Bluefield State my first year for freshman year, and we talk about the transfer. I did transfer from Bluefield State to Glenville State after my first year. But I wouldn't change that either. I mean, it was good growing up time. I wasn't the right fit for Glenville at the time, and then going in when I did, I would go back and do my 3-4 years at Glenville in a heartbeat. It made me who I am. I grew up, matured, and developed into the person I am today because of those years at Glenville State.
And Hannah Purdue comes in saying, I'm in here, Coach. Hannah, we may reach out to you girls soon if you would be more than willing to come on the podcast and then tell us, just good things about the coach and your career at PikeView and what you look forward to in the future. And she's going to Concord, correct?
That's right. Yes.
Okay. Now, when you were at Glenville, was the smokehouse still there? Because they got some good ribs.
No.
Really?
No, we had Pizza Hut, McDonald's, and the Commonplace.
Right. Yeah, those were there because I went there for the academy when I was a correctional officer, and they have a smokehouse there. It was just really good. I didn't know if it was still there when you were attending that school.
I don't recall it.
Jeanette Kraft says, "Unleash the beast."
Yeah, that's Brooke Kraft.
And then we got another question that says, how do you deal with parents
Listen,
who think their kid are
That's a good question. Okay. All right.
that their kids are in the NBA and feel that you aren't making the right decisions? I see this a lot. I was just curious if you've ever encountered this type of situation.
oh, of course I have, in 16 years. But a lot of that time is, after a loss or their kid didn't get in the game. I have a 24-hour policy to where, they can't talk to me after the game. I don't talk to them after the game. And a lot of times, 95% of the time, I don't even hear from them the next day. But I think it's the respect, getting that respect from the parents and me getting it from them. I understand that as a coach, everybody's going to feel that way. But kind of don't let it go in one ear and out the other. I coach for who I am, and I make that very clear up front. I'm here. I'm a competitor. I want to win, and I'm going to play the best. The girls know it. I think for the most part, the parents know it. But it's everywhere. I get it, but I don't really listen to it, to be honest with you.
If they were that good, they'd be down there doing your job. So hey,
that's right. So.
But we dealt with the same thing. Coaches from the stands, man. You need to teach them how to tackle better. Right. They're in middle school. They're developing. Come on, he's like, they're not all stars. They're developing, and that's just the way it is. I don't know why that's a hard concept to grasp with parents.
And the truth of it is little league parents are 1,000 times worse than high school parents. In my experiences, man alive, them little league parents will eat you alive.
Yeah.
Something I learned over the years, and it was when I was playing, at Glenville State. I can remember going to Concord and playing, and then playing at West Virginia Wesleyan, and the student sections just being hard on me, chanting 14 sucks, whatever.
Right.
I didn't listen to that. I was able to tune it out, and that's what I try to tell our girls. We go to games, student section is on the floor, they're loud, they're going to be nagging you. But if you can learn to block that out, it's not going to affect you. That's what they want. They want to get in your head. They want to take you out of the game. When they do that, they're winning. And I can use a game from this year, with the rival with Princeton. The place was packed. Their students were right on the bench, right behind. And I never heard them one time the whole game. And a lot of people don't believe me, but honestly, because with me coaching there for 2 years, it's a big rival, and I'm sure they were nagging me and whatever, but I honestly did not hear them the whole game. And it's just because I've learned in my years of playing and coaching just to tune it out. And so a lot of times, to be honest with you, I don't hear parents yelling or hearing people coaching, because I've just instilled that in myself. I coach my girls that's on the floor. We worry about the floor. And that's what I try to instill, like, you listen to me and no one else. And it's not really been an issue for me.
No, I think that's how it was a little bit for me in high school, honestly, playing football. I don't really remember the crowd or the noise. I don't. I remember being on the field and playing and hearing the stuff on the field, even on the sidelines. I don't recall anything behind me. I really don't. And, it'd be nice for your girls to benefit from a little scene from Kevin Costner's For the Love of the Game, where he's up there, pitching for the Detroit Tigers. Billy Chappell, he's at the Yankee Stadium, and you know how New Yorkers are, and they're just going crazy, and he just says that little thing, says, clear the mechanism, and everything just sucks out of the stadium. Just clear the mechanism and do your thing.
That's right. And that's honest. Like, serious. Like, I don't hear it. I try to tell my girls, we'll just simulate it and practice with free throws and being up around them and yelling at them just to try to prepare them, like, state tournament or games when we know the crowd's going to be loud, student section's going to be on them. But I just try to instill that in them, because it's something I've learned over the years, is just to tune it out.
Now, do you have any upcoming clinics or camps that maybe PikeView's putting on in case there's somebody interested in coming down and learning a little bit?
Yeah, we planned on doing it last year but we ran into COVID and had restrictions with the gym and stuff. But it's definitely in the work. We're looking at doing 2 camps for sixth, seventh grade or lower. I'd even like to get kindergartners in here, because I don't think down in our area we don't have much for those kids that age, especially 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. So yeah, we're looking at doing 2 camps. We're trying to get everything situated with COVID and all that stuff with the guidelines. So yeah, definitely if you're on and you're listening, be heads up. We'll have it on Facebook and sending flyers to local elementary schools and getting something in for these kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and if you'd let us know, I mean, we'll put it up.
Yes.
On the
Okay.
athletics page so everybody can see it.
Okay.
Then we have one more question. She says, last question, I promise. Sometimes players don't make the cut, not because they're not good, but because they're just not there yet. How do you give them confidence to come back when they're just not quite there yet?
Well, first, I don't give up on anybody. I tell them, what they need to work on, getting to camps, getting to clinics, local colleges and those camps, getting with personal trainers. If there's anybody in the area, I know we have former players from PikeView or from Concord that are in the area that giving private lessons. So I'm always upfront and honest with kids. If fortunately, I haven't had to cut for a while. But if I do have to cut a kid, I always like to give them feedback of why they got cut and being upfront and honest with them. And that way that, I don't want them to give up if they truly have that passion for the sport. And if they have that passion for the sport, they will get out and work and you'll see growth in the next year and they'll come back out.
Well, and I'm just going to piggyback off that for a second. I mean, that's something that I always truly believed, when me and Tim were coaching football, middle school and stuff, is making the kids and the parents own the truth, own the truth of what we're dealing with here. And sometimes just telling a parent that can make a big difference and letting them see how their kid measures up objectively. And that's not such a bad thing, because if you can get a fair measure of a kid that's not quite there yet, then like you said, they can work to get there. And that's like, in life, approaching a problem, you come up with a solution and you try to fix it. And I think a lot of parents kind of overlook that and they put it all on the coaches, whereas it's not always just a coach thing. It's something that, if a kid's really passionate, find a way to give them the tools to develop.
Right. And if they are passionate, they're going to find those tools and they're going to want to get out and get better, and they will be back the next year. And, like a lot of times, you make those cuts and those kids don't come back out, but the passionate ones do, and they get better. So they'll find the tools, and if they have that passion for the sport, they'll get back out and be there the next year.
Yep.
Well, Tracy, we want to thank you for
stop us now.
I want to thank you for coming on and really appreciate it. I think this is a conversation that'll find a lot of ears and will, let everybody know that, PikeView girls basketball is back and it's kicking ass. But it also gives the parents a fair gauge of the coach and how the coaches are interacting with their kids and what their philosophies are. And I think that that anybody that watches this is definitely going to see you and know that they're little girl ball players in good hands.
No, definitely.
That's right. I just want them to know, I'm passionate about the sport. I can't play it anymore. So that's my way of getting back to sport, is being passionate, being competitive, and making it relevant for kids. If it's not fun for them, and, practices are the same thing every day, they're not going to want to come back to practice. It's the same stuff over and over. So we try to make it relevant for the kids, make it as game-like as possible, and make it competitive and fun and enjoyable. It's not always – I've had to change my coaching style over the years. It's not what I was 15 years ago when I started coaching. My coaching style is different. I used to be throw the clipboard and throw the markers across the room, and sometimes I do that to get their attention.
Right.
But it's definitely changed. It's definitely a little bit more relaxed 10, 12 years ago. But it's enjoyable for the kids. They got to want to be there. It's got to be fun, and the coach has got to be passionate and being determined with what they're doing, and positive, not always negative with them.
Yeah, because it's a dangerous trap to get in for a coach. And once you get complacent and stagnant, you can die really quickly unless you're kind of moving on and developing yourself and getting better. If you're just staying in the same place, you're doomed.
That's right. That's right. Definitely, you know, as a coach, you got to keep changing year to year. You know, what might work last year is not going to work next year. So I'm learning. You know, I do clinics myself and online clinics, or try to go to the Final Four women's, you know, men's basketball if I can. If not, I'm trying to pay and go to clinics and learn from, you know, higher up coaches and change them and learning my game from day to day.
Well, I think the girls at PikeView are in really good hands, and we cannot wait to see what else you guys produce in the future. And you know what, me and Sammy, we're definitely gonna attend some games, man, and see
Awesome.
and see it firsthand.
Awesome.
And just check out what's going on, because I think you're doing a great job there. I really do.
Well, I appreciate it. The girls play hard, and I think that's the big thing. You know, we
Yeah.
drill defense, and I think they're very resilient. They don't give up, regardless of, you know, how many we're down. We've shown that. So even if we lose, we're going to play hard. We're going to play with passion and play hard and not give up to the final buzzer.
Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and let Tracy go. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. This is the 304 podcast. You know, the PikeView girls basketball team, you know, are on an upward trajectory, and you know, we look forward to seeing all that future success.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'm here anytime you need me. I enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. We enjoy it. Thank you very, very much again.
All right, thank you. And if you need Hannah Purdue, I'll reach out to her.
Okay, well, that sounds good.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Guys, that was Tracy Wyatt Raban.
And I forgot to talk about her iconic midair celebration. Phew, yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, you know, the deeper into these podcasts we get with the 304, and the more coaches we talk to, and the kids that we talk to, we just find that there's more and more hidden talent in Southern West Virginia than people realize.
Yeah.
And you know, Tracy, you know, is a testament to that. Just hearing her talk about, you know, how passionate she is about basketball and coaching and everything. Like, you know, that kind of stuff's contagious. And for the kids down here that's getting to play under these coaches, the ones that we've talked to so far, I mean, they're very fortunate to have that kind of high school experience.
Yeah, that's part of the show where she's gone. This is where we can talk behind her back.
Yep, this is
called good way.
Behind your back. That's what we're going to start doing after these, is just kind of reflecting a little bit about, you know, about the interview and some of the answers we got. You know, I do remember when she played football. I remember that very well. I remember playing at Lake Shawnee down. I remember who was on their team and everything. You had Bubba Ernest and Everett Mitchum, and she was playing running back when we played against them. And I mean, she was fearless. She really was. She was absolutely fearless. You know, as a large guy, because I was a large kid. You know, you felt bad when you were playing against the girls and having to hit them, but I mean, the difference between her and some of the other girls that I do remember is she never quit. I mean, it was just right back to work. And, you know, that mentality, as you can see, has kind of found its way into her adult life, and it's produced an amazing coach.
It's dangerous.
It is. It's very dangerous.
It's dangerous, man.
You know, I think given time and like Tony Palmer just said, culture, building that culture, you know, as the culture changes, you know, everything will get better for the girls program down there. There's no doubt about that. And there's other areas for other schools that they need to start following suit on what some of these coaches that we're bringing on are talking about, because it will make a difference.
Oh yeah. I can't wait to see, I mean, what they do next year. I really can't. And yeah, she's not losing any girls this year other than Hannah, right?
I think she said there was 2.
And Anaya.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, man, it's gonna I can't wait. I'm looking forward to seeing it and watching it.
Well, it's so easy to get excited. You know, that's the thing. Like, everybody that we brought on, we've gotten really excited about. And you know, it just, I don't know. It's like that sharing of passion. I mean, to hear these coaches talk about what's going on. I mean, it's awesome to hear because like we said, we didn't when we were in high school and playing and stuff, we didn't necessarily share some of those experiences with coaches like that. And I mean, it's awesome to see that that's, kind of a growing trend in the area. I think it's makes it exciting for everybody. I think it'll bring the communities together to support these teams and everything.
Yeah.
Now, Tracy, what was you telling me? She was named what, the coach of the year?
Yeah, with lootpress.com. The Loot Press. Yeah, coach of the year, man. I mean, that's awesome, man. This is what season, what year is this in? PikeView? Third year?
Second year, I think.
Second year. What's Nikki Vanover say? Like Purdue and Brown said, there were a lot of teams / players that thought the PikeView were the underdogs and they wouldn't go far. Yeah.
Well, I think your coach is going to help you develop your kids to a point, I mean, where it's going to be continual success year in, year out. I mean, I think if, some of the feeder programs can kind of adopt some of the way she's doing things and the way she approaches her team, I mean, you'll see a change from the bottom up. And that shows through with football and really all sports, is if you can get your high school, your middle school, and your elementary level programs all on the same board. Put your egos aside and get them all on the same board. That's when you start seeing a program actually get built. Unfortunately, we are ego-driven characters, and a lot of times can't put that aside to do what's best for the greater good. And there are local schools that's an issue with, and I think it's just going to take finding the right people at the right time to make that right commitment to do it.
I'm a coach. How dare you talk to me that way or give me advice? But you know what? She's on the right track, especially with she's wanting to do the camps and clinics and stuff like that. Man, that's right on. Getting the kids in middle school or younger, or even she said even younger, getting them involved. Chris,
yes.
I hate you, Chris. Shut up.
Oh, I thought he was wearing an OU shirt.
No, just an O. just oh. Go back to where you came from. No, yeah, I mean just the trajectory she's on is just right now. It's good, and again, I can't wait to see what is produced from that. Don't put it up there. Don't.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to give that the time of day.
Bomber.
What's a bomber?
What's a bomber?
But I mean, guys, that's part of what we're trying to do here with 304 podcasts and now 304 athletics is, to bring athletes, coaches, past, present, future on to kind of share their philosophies and their ideas and their thoughts, and to kind of, I don't want to say audit, but kind of take a look at, Southern West Virginia and the coaches and what's going on and what's working and what can be improved on. Like, that's something that me and Tim are really passionate about.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Interrupt you. Thanks, Chris.
Any of the kids that are going on to play college ball that want to come on and talk to us about it, come on and talk to us about it. If you're a junior going into your senior year and you're, talking to different teams and, watch some of our videos and listen to how the kids that's being recruited answer some of the questions, because one, if you come on here, those are pretty much the same questions we're going to give you. But two, it kind of gives you a pattern for success, because most of these guys that we've interviewed, the answers that they give are all pretty similar as to why they're being so successful. And I think that's something that the kids can learn from, and I hope they learn from.
Yeah, it's nothing but good things coming out from 304 athletics people. Me and Sammy, we're going to try to change some things in our area that need to be changed. That should have been changed a long time ago. But
in the era that we're in with media, social media, I really do believe this. I believe that podcasts like this are going to be paramount to kids that are trying to get into college and smaller colleges, middle-sized colleges, even some large colleges, going on and getting yourself out there and putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be part of the future of recruiting, with the portal being as it is and the NIL being as it is. A high school kid would have a lot more, a lot better of an opportunity to get recruited if a coach could sit down and watch a 15-minute interview they did, and they can actually get a read on where that kid is mentally and what they're thinking and where they're coming from. And then you couple that with, a highlight video, and they actually can make a fair assessment on what they're looking at. And I think that's going to be a big part of it in moving in the future, because I really do believe that the portal is going to take opportunities away from high school kids. I 100% believe that. Yeah. And we just haven't scratched the tip of the iceberg yet, but it's coming.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I concur.
You concur. Chris Parrish is a huge Tennessee fan.
That's just funny, dude.
That is funny.
But wait.
There's more. Important announcement.
Yeah. Tony's like, absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
Well, that's the role that we're looking to fill, guys. Like, we want to be, of course, me and Tim want to build a platform, 304 podcast. We want to build a platform, something that we can do and enjoy ourselves. But it's more than just for us. It really is for the coaches and the kids, especially the kids, to get themselves out there. And we just want everybody to know, if you want to come on, man, reach out to us and let us know. We're more than welcome to bring anybody on. And
there's hidden talent out there.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what
everywhere.
That's what we're looking for,
and that's what me and Sammy are going to keep our eyes open this year. It's just that talent that a lot of people just overlook, and then maybe we can help somebody.
Yep, absolutely.
Because we got the gift, man. We know talent when we see it.
We got the ESPN.
There's no talent there, man.
Kirk Herbstreit. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, man, greatest
Ohio quarterback ever.
Shut up.
Well, I mean, that is true. Kirk Herbstreit is the most successful Ohio State quarterback ever.
No, I don't know. You mean on TV wise? Yeah.
Success. I said successful. I'm just being.
Yeah, you didn't. Successful. Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, I get you. You didn't say where, but just in general.
I can't think of one that was more successful than he's been.
That's true. Other than Archie, but he wasn't a quarterback.
Well, at least Jeff Hostetler won the Super Bowl. Sucking egg Herc.
I like Jeff Hostetler.
Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. This is the 304 podcast. I'm your host, Sam the Man, with my buddy Tiny Tim.
Thank you guys for taking the time and watching our show. If you haven't already, please hit that like button on Facebook and on YouTube, the 304 podcast. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell next to it, and we'll let you know when we upload anything new. It lets you know, that way you can watch it right then and there, because we know you will.
Well, guys, be on the lookout. We got some cool things coming up. We're going to be doing some spring ball events with Bluefield College, Bluefield State.
Yeah, the Bluefield College. Yeah, the Rams. Yeah. I get those two mixed up too. I do.
We're going to be doing some spring ball stuff there. We're going to be going to the Virginia Tech spring game.
This Saturday, MMA fight.
Yeah, this Saturday, MMA fight in Withville. We're gonna do a podcast about that too, just because it's local things that's going on that people aren't as aware of as they need to be, and talent hides everywhere, and we're gonna find it. So, yep. All right, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Everybody have a good evening, and this is another episode of the 304 podcast.
We'll see you when we see you.